Hello everyone, this is Dixie. I wanted to make a video. I've been asked a couple of times how I personally start hibiscus seeds. Now, I can't say that the way I'm doing it is right. I haven't had as much success with other people, but this is my most successful way to do it. What you're seeing here are 3 exotic hibiscus seeds. The cross is Tahitian Tawi times Moria Nianamu. I don't know. It's not in English, so I have no idea what that is. But one's from Tahiti, one's from the island of Moria. That cross produced 3 seeds. Now, as you know, or many of you know, I am TropEco, or at least Mrs. TropEco, and this is how I do it. The eco in TropEco is our promise to be ecologically sound. So this is a peanut one, for instance, is a used peanut jar, and it's plastic. What I did is I had my husband cut around it. I leave a little tab because it's easier to do. And with a nail, I have him poke little holes in the bottom. Have to have good drainage. The mixture I use is 50% peat seed starter and 50% Miracle Grow moisture control soil. And as you can see, it's nice and moist. There's some big chunks here. But what you don't want it soaking wet. So about 2 to 3 hours before I decide to start my seeds, I fill them up, or I get them nice and moist, and I let it drain really, really good. So that's what we're doing. Now here is how I do the seeds. Let me figure out how to set this up real quick so that you guys can see. Or maybe I can do it one-handed. Okay, a hibiscus seed, it's really hard to see with this camera, is kind of shaped like a human head, like a person's head from the side view. This part here, the little bottom part being the chin and being the top, you're not going to be able to see this really good. So this is what I do is I take the knife. This is a sharp knife. It's a Swiss Army knife. And I make sure that between each nicking, I clean the knife either with bleach or with hydrogen peroxide, and then I rinse it off. You don't want to disease your babies. So when I nick a seed, let's see. Okay, you should be able to see that. When I nick a seed, I hold the seed where the human chin area would be, like this. And then I take my knife and I basically scalp it just a tiny, tiny bit, because you don't want to hurt the little cotyledons, which are also called seed leads. And as you can see, or I hope you can see, that little guy, actually you can't see here, I'll put it like this, has a tiny white speck. Now the next step that I do is I take a Q-tip or a toothpick and I make a tiny little hole in the soil. And when you're doing that, you might find pieces like this. You don't want that. So I loosen up the nice, moist soil, make it nice and fluffy. And it should be moist. Like, you don't want a bunch of it sticking to your fingers because hibiscus don't like a lot of water. I make a hole that's about 1/4 of an inch deep. I take the little seed, I drop it in, and I push it down just a little bit. Then I lightly cover it and lightly pat it down. Now I'm going to do this 2 more times because this is like your regular water bottle. I'm going to cut these while I'm talking to you. This is like your regular water bottle, and you don't want to put too many seeds in. Since this cross only produced 3 seeds, I figured that this would be an excellent size for these little guys. You also want to make sure if you cut a seed and it's empty or it smells funny or something like that, that you don't use it, because you don't want to have rot spread to your other seeds. This guy looks good, so I'm going to insert him. Push it down, cover it. Now the next one, I'm going to cut the last little guy. And I'm going to make a little hole for him. You want him to have a good distance apart. I would give him at least an inch, if not more. It depends. Now, like I said, this is just how I do it. That doesn't mean it's right. Now your little mini greenhouse is ready. I actually want to give this guy a bit more water, so we'll come over here. Pardon everything being a little bit crazy. Now, when you water something like this, you don't want like a huge gush. So my kitchen sink has a setting that's kind of like a sprinkle of rain. I just swipe 2, 3, 4, because I like to do everything in 4s anyway. All right, so now we'll go back to the seed starting area. As you can see, I have my stuff set out. I also have snacks. Now, I also put a label. The mother is always on top. the father on bottom. So the pod parent on top, the pollen parent on bottom. And since I just watered it, I want to take it, dry off the edges, because I am going to use clear tape to secure this. It's like your masking tape. You can find it at Dollar Tree or something, or Walmart, wherever you shop. And I seal up the little crack. Because you want the nice warmth and humidity that we're going to, the humidity is going to be supplied, by the way, I should mention this, by the moist soil. You shouldn't need to water this for a very long time. I'll show you at what point you do that. So this isn't the greatest one I have, because these water bottles aren't so great, but if it helps the environment, you know, by saving some water bottles from going into the landfill, well, then that's fine by us. Additionally, the clear tape allows there to be more sun, more light to come in, which is great for a starting seedling. So now we take our mini greenhouse, we walk through my house into here. Now, as you can see, I've got some of my ribbons, some of where I raise butterflies. These are some of my own crosses here that are waiting to be done, Florida State Fair ribbons. And down here I have what are called, I guess, heating mats that are used for plants. I cover them with an old t-shirt or an old towel. I have them on a surge protector so that way if there's lightning or something, the heat doesn't go off. This is another one. This is another Moria cross. And it says that it has 8 seeds when I bought it, but it actually has 10. So I used a much bigger container. I actually like this container better. It's more stout. It's a TropEco orange juice thing. So these guys will sit on this heat. And in approximately a week or so, sometimes more, sometimes even less, they will begin to sprout. And I will show you what happens from there. All right, we'll go in the other room. There's some stuff that I bought. Oh, we can stop here for a minute and see little baby turtles in my fish tank. Okay. So the next step, you gotta pardon us, my critters share the room with some of my seedlings. This is another one of the containers, and I don't know if we're gonna be able to shoot this or not. You're not gonna be able to see. There are some that have sprouted in there. These are also sprouts. This one, only one lived. They don't always live. This one, it has a true leaf. These are the cotyledons. This is a true leaf starting. And then here's ones that have true leaves as well. This window gets a lot of sun, especially in the beginning of the day. I don't like to expose my seedlings to full sun in the beginning. It can burn them and dry them out really easily. So basically what I do is let these guys grow from here. You see the true leaves starting. When they get a big true leaf like this, I remove the top of the greenhouse. But when it gets dry, like these guys, I'll give water in about an hour or two. When it gets dry on top, I just give them enough water to keep them moist. You never want them to have their feet be too wet, because hibiscus don't like that. So that is how I start seeds. And while I'm doing this, Mr. TropEco is diligently repotting plants. If you look out here, here's a bunch with some lovely blooms. And this is just some of them. And out here there are more. It's a big day. So that is my tutorial on how you start hibiscus seeds. And if anybody has any questions or any interest, feel free to let us know. Please recycle. It really, really helps. And I think it's, good karma for starting your seeds. Happy blooming, everyone.